Good afternoon. Hello, my beautiful listeners, and welcome to another episode of the Endless Mindset podcast. I am super excited to be here today for multiple reasons. Now, first of all, I am bringing you someone super unique and someone super inspiring. That's the first reason I'm so excited about today. Second of all, we are bringing you a topic. We're going to be talking about something which we haven't really talked about that much on my podcast. We have mentioned every now and then, every episode, we would touch on this topic, but we never really fully dig into this topic. So I'm super excited about talking about this very hot and powerful topic these days as well. And a third of all is that I haven't recorded any podcast for a couple of months because I broke my leg, ankle. So therefore I'm back and I'm very excited to be back with you and my listeners. So for those who are listening regularly, you know, the podcast is designed to inspire others. This podcast is here to, we always trying to bring a different topic, something what, if you are in the business or if you just want to grow as a person, there's always a topic in this podcast where you could come have a listen and come up with some golden nuggets which can inspire you to become either a better person or better business person, etc. Now, what we're going to be talking about today, which I'm super excited, is higher powers, power thoughts, things what loads of people know about, but not everybody preaching it the right way or or correct way, or don't understand it the way how we should. It's something that loads of people are excited about these topics as well, but they just don't fully understand it. Now, I'm bringing you someone who is 18-year-old, but it's so super beautiful inside and out, and it's inspiring in so many ways. And I can guarantee you that she understands this topic more than most of us combined. And therefore, I can't wait for her to talk more about this topic and tell us more about herself. A beautiful Summer Kang. Hi, Summer. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me, first of all. I'm so excited to be here with you.
I am so excited to have you on. You, as I said, you are such a beautiful person. So you, the way how I got to know you, Sava, got to know about you is through your beautiful and wonderful mom, Amina, which I'm going to also interview on this podcast, and I can't wait. When she told me about you, from the moment she told me about you, I was like, oh, I need this girl in my life. I was like, I need this girl in my life now, right now. So it started with she started telling me that you have a podcast, which is very unusual as well, and for many reasons. So we're gonna get through all this, but I'm just kind of trying to build this bit of excitement. It was like when I first time heard about Summer and things you do, and what type of person you are. I was mind blown, and I was like, right. So let's tell this world about you a bit more. So tell us a little bit more about who is Summer.
So I am homeschooled by choice. I think I should add, because often when you say homeschool, people have this assumption that you're just like forced into doing it. No, I chose to be homeschooled. I do energy healing. I love self-development, and I adore all things spirituality. It's just always been an interest. And as I got older and I had more questions about the world and what we're really doing here, I started to realize that actually I could try and start answering them for my life. And yeah, here I am.
Yeah, that is unbelievable. That's what I love about it. It's like when I was in your age, I did not know anything about spirituality. I was forced to be a Christian, which was totally different story. And
Right.
I disagreed with a lot of things what I've been told that I have to do.
Yeah.
Just for me to grow as an adult, I learned about spirituality and higher powers, and I adore this topic. So as I said, that it's amazing that you already understand this. You are so far ahead compared to many of us. So tell us a little bit more about so let's start with you as a you. So before we go to spirituality, you said that you are homeschooled. So how did it start? What made you decide that you want to
One of
study
the
school?
So I never really enjoyed school in the format that it is. It was just not my thing. And I had really low self-esteem when it came to school. And I was around a lot of people who were really intelligent. All my friends, when I was quite young, were all really super bright. And that didn't help that experience in school. But it was okay. I kind of got through it up until 11. when I moved schools. Not really by choice. My parents wanted me to go to this certain school, and I was kind of just like, okay, sure, whatever. And from the first week in the school when I was 11, I was like, no, this is not for me. And for 4 years, I was like, I want to be homeschooled. I want to be homeschooled. I know this isn't for me. And growing up, I was put in certain situations that made me have to grow up a lot faster than my peers and the people around me, which enhanced that negative experience because I found it so hard to connect to people my age. So there was this combination of not really being able to connect with other people. I didn't enjoy this kind of how school was formatted. And as I started getting into self-development and spirituality, I really learned that what school is teaching me has no correlation with life and things that I really have interest in. And finally, one day I was like really upset, and my mom was like, fine, let's do it. And I was like, but we don't know how. I was like really upset about it. And she was like, we're going to have to just figure it out. And I come from an Asian background where education is everything. And you don't hear of people being homeschooled. You don't question the, way that it's done. You do it, you put your head down, you get your grades, and you do school in the way that everybody else does it. And so it was definitely a questionable and scary decision. I didn't know that it was going to be any better for me, but I, was kind of trusting that I've made this decision and I wanted it for so long. And in my mind, I was like, okay, if it is really bad, it probably won't be as bad as school. And if it is as bad as school, there's only a couple more years that I have to do it for anyway. So I'll just like do the same thing that I did to get myself through school. And today is actually my last official day of being homeschooled. I've got one last A level tomorrow. So it feels full circle that I pursued things that were outside of school and now they're kind of coming into fruition, which is really beautiful. So yeah, I can confirm it was the best decision I ever made. Very happy 3 years. Ups and
Wow.
downs, of course, but yeah, I'm just so grateful that I got to do it and that, my mum kind of supported me and was like, okay, I don't know how, but we'll do it. So
You'll
yeah.
figure it out. That's amazing. It's great to have that such a support as well from the parent, like the
Yeah.
parents who actually would understand and not just forcing you to do something what didn't fit right. What I love about the way how you described it is I love the honesty about that. You were like you said that this just wasn't for me. The way how the schools are set up, the people, like even the mindset. I can already tell that you have a very different mindset to loads of people in your age. So while probably others were, I don't know, chasing, the what all the other maybe 16-year-old chasing or something, you probably were interested in different things as well. So it's beautiful that you realize that and you are like, well, I still want to get education, but this
Yeah.
system is not for me. And
Right.
I totally completely Natalie understand that. And yeah, it's amazing that as we said that your mom was very supportive as well, because that would make huge difference, didn't it? So well done, Mina, as well.
Yeah.
Well done to you both. So this is amazing. And now, so you also mentioned you are. This is one of the main reasons as well that you're here is to. You've mentioned your like you love anything spirituality, higher
Right.
powers, etc. So what is inspiring in that? So now you are homeschooled, so obviously you're not surrounded by other people all
Right.
the time like others. So where did you get this inspiration? How did you grow into that?
I think it started as a lot of questions. I was always really inquisitive and always asked loads of questions. I wanted to know why. And as a young child, wanting to know what you're really doing here is a really big question to ask. And
Wow.
quite, it's a really vast question too. There isn't a one answer, and not one parent or auntie or uncle can tell you this is exactly what it is and this is what you're here to do. It's kind of a question you have to figure out and what that means for your life. And as I got older, probably about 11, 12, I started watching people like Satguru. I really got into Oprah, Tony Robbins, people like that. And I was like,
The age
they're
of
not answering the
11.
question. Yeah. They're
Wow.
not answering the question, but they're giving me something. And so what I realized is no one's really going to give me one answer. I can't go to one guru or one, saint and they're going to say exactly what it is. But that's part of the journey, figuring out what I'm doing here, because we all have a gift and we all have a unique purpose. So I think that started off just wanting to know more and more, knowledge and information. And I think now, having now been homeschooled, I've learned that life really is the biggest teacher, that, each day I'm in awe and I am humbled by the human experience. It's so magical. And I think that we just walk around forgetting that it is such a gift to be here. And, with being a human comes problems, and there's always going to be problems. It doesn't matter how much money you have or how much fame you have or how perfect your life looks. everyone's going to suffer at some point. Everyone's going to have challenges, whether it be big or small. We all are going to endure things that are going to make us grow and they're going to hurt. And so I think that it's in itself just recognizing that being a human is a gift, but it is sometimes going to be hard. And that is quite motivating to me, understanding that I have this one life, I have this chance to really, do something with it. And I would love to be able to fulfill my greatest potential and in doing that help others. So definitely life itself, I think, is inspiring for me right now.
That's unbelievable. This is amazing. This is one of the reasons why I'm such a huge fan of you now. Like, since your mom told me about you, I told you, and I listened to your first podcast, I couldn't get enough, which we'll get to later, because for the people who's going to be listening to you now, they will need to follow you automatically, obviously, because the way just you speak now, and I was already melting. I could just listen to you. I could listen to you for hours and hours and hours.
Oh my God, that's
It's like
so
you're
sweet.
gonna be one of those gurus, like you were seeking the gurus. You're gonna be someone's guru. You're gonna be. You are already.
Oh.
That's just, yeah. That's really amazing the way how you explain it as well, and the way how young you were as well when you were already interested in, as you said, Tony Robbins. Like, I didn't even know who Tony Robbins is until I was in late 20s. So that's amazing. You're from like 11. You already understood that as well, and just trying to understand more like what we're doing in this planet. That's very impressive. That's very impressive.
Thanks.
Yeah. And you can, you have that vibe from you as well. You have a very, very nice like aura around you as well, and just the way you speak and everything. So yeah,
Oh,
that's fantastic.
thank
And
you.
where you like getting inspiration now? So obviously this is where this is where you got gain your inspiration when you were younger and you wanted to know more. But what about now? Like, obviously you are growing up and you grew into adulthood now. So where are you seeking inspiration now to grow in your own field now?
I think there was a quote by Rumi, and he said, as you start to walk on the way appears. And that is so true. I think that as you grow in your life, and as a human, of course, you have to make decisions and choices for what you want in your life. And as you make those decisions and, you make them with conviction to the universe and you put out, okay, whatever it is, even if it's like something that you're physically trying to manifest, the right things will keep falling into place. And you have to have this combination of having really strong intention, but also learning to surrender. And as my life has grown and changed, I feel like the next thing I need to learn is just put in front of me. So right now, a huge lesson that I'm still experiencing is kind of just surrendering to the universe. I feel like growing up, I always wanted to be in control, and you realize that the more you try and squeeze things, the more they slip away. And I'm at a really unique crossroads in my life where everyone else my age and all my friends are going to uni and they're all applying to unis and getting into where they want to be, which is so amazing for them and so exciting if that's what they want for their life. But I've known for a long time, I don't want to go to uni. I don't want to do what everyone else is doing because it doesn't feel right for me, in the same way that school wasn't right for me. So I'm now like at this place where I'm like, okay, I can either choose to be anxious about it because I don't know where I'm going, or I can go, oh my gosh, I don't know where I'm going. That's really exciting. And just trusting that up until this point in my 18 years, I've been looked after, everything's always worked out and beautiful things have always fallen into place. So let me just carry on walking and knowing I just have to take the next step, and the next opportunity will come, or the next thing that I need to do will come. So it's a combination of, you have to seek in order for things to come towards you, but also when you're ready to learn the right thing and when the truth awakens within you in whatever element in your life, you kind of just follow it. So yeah.
Wow, it's just the way you say things already. As I said, this is like I could easily just cut those bits out of our podcast and just make a mini little podcast out of this podcast.
Mini podcast, I love that.
Mini podcast out of the podcast. Yeah, that's amazing. So you so things obviously, as you said, that things will always fall into place. Like you're just trusting the process, which is very important. But how do you stay? How do you stay? Positive on the dark days, on the difficult days, as we said that the as a humans we can have bad days as well. That's going to be difficult,
Yeah.
and so as from your experience now, like how would you say that for those who are like, okay, yeah, I do want to, obviously I understand that I have to trust the process. What would you
Yeah.
say? What would you recommend? What would you do on the bad days?
I think there's a couple of things. So I was saying this actually recently on a little video I think I did on Instagram, part of the podcast, where I said, are you really having a bad day or are you having a bad moment? Because so often as humans, we're so quick to go, oh, my coffee spill and I'm late to my meeting. It's a bad day. And the whole day then is bad because you've decided, no, it's going to be a bad day, right? So actually, was it just a bad moment? Okay, maybe you were being looked after. Maybe you were going to get into a car crash or something and you needed to spill the, clean the coffee up. Otherwise, something would have happened. Or you would have ran into your neighbor who's annoying. So like you got looked after in that moment, right?
Love that example.
So often, yeah, often you've got to ask yourself, is my humanness getting in the way? And actually let me just flow, right? Because there's a yin and a yang to life. And on the flip side of that, accepting that the dark days will come. I'm still learning to endure them when they do happen. But one of my favorite things to say to myself is the sun will rise again in the same way that you have, the days, you have to have the nights. And often it's in the dark nights that you're really going to grow because you have to, put those things that you've learned in the good days and apply them into the bad days. So they're going to come. I have them in the same way. If anything, I have them probably more because I have a podcast and because in my job I do energy healing. I'm there to make other people feel better about their life. I have to learn everything that I talk about on my podcast and in life deeply in order to be able to help other people with it. So for me, I think that's something I always say, the sun will rise again. And if it's not okay, it's not the end, is something my mum taught me as a young girl. She was always like, if something's not okay, it can't be the end. So just know that it's got to get better. And yeah, I think a lot of it's mindset and a lot of it's also just kind of understanding that you've got to go through the mud sometimes to get to something really beautiful and knowing that the beautiful day will come, because there were days I didn't think I would even make it to 18 and I'm still here and I'm smiling. But with this like happy smile and, joyful presence maybe that I try and have for other people, there was a lot of learning to grow through that pain. And it's not just a naive optimism that I carry, but actually understanding that I need this optimism to get through life. So yeah.
That's amazing. And exactly, I'm a huge believer in that as well. When you said you spill your coffee, that really could be that you saved yourself from being an accident, for example. Exactly. There's like you just never know why things happens. And
Yeah.
I love the way how you explain it because it's one of those things as well, like when you're stuck in traffic, instead of being so nervous about it, it's like you're not gonna help anything. Right now, if you're gonna be nervous and angry, you're not going to
Right.
change the situation. You're going to make it worse because you're going to make it worse for yourself, and then you're
Right.
spreading that negativity or that
Mhm.
rashness wherever you
Right.
go, whoever you're speaking to, whoever's in your car, for example, with you,
Yeah.
and and
Absolutely.
you might be stuck in the traffic because something's just saving you from being in an accident later on or
Right.
like that.
Right.
So
Yeah, you
yeah,
get it.
yeah, so I truly, truly believe that. But what fascinates me about you is that you know it now. I did not know that back then. So that's really fascinating. That's absolutely amazing. And so yes, now, so do you know now what your purpose is, or are you still figuring it out, or you kind of know now?
I think your purpose evolves as you evolve. From a young age, I knew that whatever I do, whatever job I have, or whatever, at the end of my life, I want to know that I've helped other people. I've had a really privileged life for sure. There's been things that from the outside that how could this person possibly have anything wrong with their life? It looked very picture perfect, but on the inside it was a very different experience. And just because you have privilege doesn't mean that you can't suffer and you can't endure some really tough things in life. So from that suffering that I had as a kid really put a fire in me, not even a want to help others, it's like a need that I must fulfill, to serve other human beings. And I think that so often we seek external things as humans, things that are going to drive the ego in order to soothe ourselves and longing for some sort of contentment and love. But I think really it comes from helping other people. So, as Oprah once said, the most human thing you can do is to help another person. So, yeah, my purpose is always going to be derived in service, and how I fulfill that hopefully will be with different, gifts. I think that every single person has a gift that we can use to serve other humans. And as of right now, I believe that it's, speaking and learning, which is why I have a podcast and I spread, love in that way. So yeah.
Amazing. So fascinating, absolutely fascinating. And Samba, can you tell us a bit more about the when you said about healing people's energies? Like what do you do that as a do you work with people like actually like let's say one to one? Do you
Yeah.
would work someone and actually help them to get off some blockages or
Yeah, definitely. So I specialize in anxiety just because it's something that I had so severely throughout my life. And having experienced it, I just want to help other people with it. I'm like, I don't want you to have that. And sometimes through that, other things come up, like they've gone through traumas and whatnot. So I can help them through that. I'm really just the vessel. It all comes from a higher power. So I'm just like the little machine that helps the person out.
Little machine.
Yeah, just like help you out. Which I really love because you get to see people, transform quite quickly. Even recently, earlier on in the year, I had someone come to me and she was very suicidal. And within 6 weeks, she was phoning me. She's like, I feel so good. Thank you so much. And I was like, don't thank me. I just was like the little helper. But
So
yeah, to have
humble as
that
well.
impact, yeah, to be part of, changing other people's lives in such a positive way is just honestly, I find it such a gift. And often people come to me and say thank you. I'm like, no, thank you for letting me help you because it's a gift to me and it lights me up seeing other people fall in love with life because like I said, it's a gift and I want people to enjoy it. And there are going to be hard times, but at the bottom of it, we are not here long enough to be living unhappy and to be suffering for most of our lives. So yeah.
Well put, very well put. Absolutely love that. I adore your answers. I
Thank
adore your
you.
mindset, totally. So Summer, so talking about, helping others and all that, what would you think from the experience so far you've got? What is the main problem with humanity? What is the blockage what we've got? Because we know this phrase, loads of people hear about it lately, the phrase of we are waking up. The
Yeah,
world is waking up, but we are still not awakened. So,
right.
what is the blockage? What do you think? What do you think from your personal experience?
Okay, so over the last few years where I've really dove into spirituality, I've really studied a lot of religions. And within every religion and belief system that I've looked into, there's some element of truth. And as humans, we're so often driven by our egos to be right. And I think that if humans slow down and actually listen to each other, the unification of mankind would happen a lot faster because there's truth in everything. And if we all had the same beliefs, it would be pretty boring. So, in the same way that if every flower looked the same, it would look pretty boring. The world wouldn't look as exciting to look at. I think if we slow down and actually just heard each other and open up our hearts and minds to recognize that there is so much beauty in each religion and in each human being. And I think that when we remove that ego of, I'm right and I'm Hindu and I've got to be right, or I'm Muslim and I'm right, and actually recognizing that there's a line of truth between all religions, in between all religions, even, I think that, something beautiful will happen in the world because ultimately all these prophets and gurus and saints and even Jesus, they're all sent from the same God. When a Muslim prays and when a Sikh prays, they're praying to the same God. And so when you recognize that actually there's this idea of oneness because we all come from the same unconditional source of love, I think that the world will evolve a lot faster and we'll start, just being able to connect because we've taken that I'm right, you're wrong out and actually recognize, well, you know what? You might be this and I might be that, but really we come from the same source of love.
I
So,
love that. I adore that. It's like me and my best friend, we are very different people in every
yeah.
possible way you can think of, every single possible way. And the only thing probably we have in common is that we love hiking. So, and
Right.
we are best friends, and we have a motto, and our motto is let's agree to disagree. And it's like we literally are best friends for so many years, but just because she's got an opinion on something or she believes in something and I don't,
Right.
it doesn't mean that we can't be friends. And
Right.
I've showed this to many people as well when they're like, how can you two be friends? Like, when you're describing to someone, I was like, yeah, my best friend, she would never agree or she would never understand. And they were like, how can you be best friends? And I'm like, because we
Yeah.
just accept that we just have different,
Yeah.
different opinion, for example.
Right.
And yeah, exactly as what you just said is the most importantly is that we like not just like me and my best friend, just mean in general, the humans that we understand that everything comes with love. Like it doesn't matter who you believe in, exact as you said, you have a different God. It doesn't matter. The God
Yeah.
presents higher power. So if you
Yeah.
believe in a God, or I believe in angels, or you believe in a universe,
Yeah.
or no matter what it is, there is something. So pretty much everybody now know that there is something. We just some people don't know what it is. Some people don't want to admit that they believe in God. They don't know what they believe in, but they know there
Yeah.
is something.
Yeah.
I found this as well quite a lot when things like what was the book The Secret, when The Secret came
Yeah.
out for the first time, and loads of people were like, oh wow, this is amazing, and loads of people as well, they were like, oh, this is the crazy woohoo stuff, it's
Yeah.
so you got literally just
Yeah.
So what's fascinating is both people fascinate me, the both reactions, because some people they get very excited about it, but they not really do much about it. And those
Right.
people who are totally skeptical, they eventually like this is where the world's coming out. We are slowly waking up. This is what I feel like. We are slowly waking up because of people like you know, who's sharing the messages, you know, spreading the messages. But the skeptical people were the people where I found like what I've listened was like the blockage. I mean, the problem was always like oh, you need to just there is no one else there. It's up to you, you know, like they kind of believe that there is only them. There's nothing else can help them. It's only them. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking, I was like, in theory, you are right. So if you don't believe that there's anything else, just believe in yourself. So believe that you can do it. Believe. So exactly like even those most skeptical people, their answer when I listened to it, there was something to it. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
you're not believing anything, and you still think it's you. Then believe in you and hire
Yeah.
you. And so
Yeah.
it fascinates me, absolutely fascinates me how different people can have different opinions, but we need to find a way how we can just all peacefully
Yeah. Yeah.
peacefully live
Yeah.
and spread those messages. And you're doing it. You are a perfect example. Your mom, you are the perfect example of people who are helping to shift this world to a better place.
Oh, thank
So
you.
it's yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. And so obviously you said that you're helping people along the way,
Yeah.
along the way, and now and you started your podcast. So where did you get the idea for podcast? Why did you start a podcast?
Like I said, I think we all have a gift. And pretty early on, I was like, I think mine is speaking or something to do with my voice. And last
Beautiful
year,
voice, by the way.
thank you. Last year, the idea of podcasting really scared me, but it kind of felt right. And I was like, that means I got to do it. You know, like when there's an element of if something's like absolutely not right for you and it's scary and really horrible, obviously don't do it. But the in growing is being uncomfortable, and the fact that I was kind of scared of it, I was like, yeah, that means that I've got to tackle it next. And I was having a conversation with my mum about it, and she was like, you have to like get him. I think you'd be great. Like, I think you should podcast. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, that fear came up and took over, and I kind of just like didn't let her remember the conversation. I didn't bring it back up again, and something really strange happened because I got an Uber 2 days later, right after this conversation I've had with my mum. I got in the Uber, and he was talking to me, and he was like, "Is Summer your real name?" And I was like, "Yeah, Summer's my name." And then it went quiet, and he was like, "Oh, by the way, I'm psychic." And I was like, "Pardon?" He was like, "I'm psychic." And he was like, "Do you mind if I just say something that I need to say to you?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And in those situations, I'm obviously cautious because I don't know these people and whatnot. And he goes, "There's something you need to do for work that you're putting off doing it. Just do it," is the message. And I was like,
Oh my
I was
God.
sitting in my Uber, and I was like,
Ah,
okay, thanks.
wow.
And that was like kind of a kick up the backside from the universe. And
Goosebumps.
so that happened. And then my mum was going to an event, and Stephen Bartlett was speaking, and she was just talking to me about this event she was going to, and she was like, "Oh, someone called Stephen Bartlett's going to be there." And she didn't really know who he was at the time. And I was like, "Stephen Bartlett?" And she was like, "Yeah." She was like, "Do you know him?" And I was like, "Oh, I love Stephen Bartlett. He's like the #1 podcaster currently in the world." And she was like, "Oh, great." And then she somehow got a free ticket, and she was like, "Do you want to come?" And I was like, "Yeah, like Stephen Bartlett, yeah." And so all of a sudden, I had this psychic Uber driver, and I got put in front of the world's best podcaster. And I was like, okay, I think it's time I should do it. So that's kind of how it came about. And yeah, in the podcast, I talk about things that I've learned along the way during my 18 years Earthside, all the things that I've had to learn. And most of those lessons I've had to walk through the mud to get them. So I'm trying to not let other people have to go through the trenches to get the same wisdom. So listen to the podcast if you like. And I think also in spirituality, there's this it can be really scary and daunting. There's so many big words and different concepts and ideas and notions, and everyone has a different opinion, and there's loads of different religions and whatnot. But often it's very simple. There's huge pinnacle lessons, and they're the really simple ones. And so in the podcast, I try to use language and words that really helps everybody. That, you know, whether you say the word God or you say the word Allah or you say the word universe, you can listen and take something from it, because that's really important to me. I don't want to just be, I'm spiritual, but I'm not an understanding person. I understand that you might not, you know, God doesn't quite sit right, but actually the universe might. So yeah, I try and put it in a way that I can help more people. That's really important. So
Love
yeah,
that.
that's my podcast.
I've noticed that as well because you do that. It's like it just doesn't matter really who you believed as well, isn't it? You're sharing a message for everyone, no matter what they believe in, and
Right.
and part of what you do, exactly what you've mentioned before, is to what we want in this world is doesn't matter that you believe in something else.
Yeah.
It's all come from love anyway, and so why don't we all can listen and learn on this
Yeah.
topic. It doesn't matter who you believe that a higher power is. So yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely fantastic. So tell us where can we find your podcast? Tell us the name of the podcast, where can we find it, and where people can find you.
Okay, so my podcast is called Quintessentially. You can find it on all places you get podcasts. And you can follow me on Instagram, quintessentially.podcast. You'll see my little face pop up. And yeah, hopefully you enjoy if you check it out. I hope you do enjoy.
Oh, it's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Like when I was running out of episodes, I was like, you need to make another episode. You need to I was like, you need to make
Yeah, I'm coming back. Season 2 will be out soon. Look, keep your eyes open. I've just finished season 1. Took a break because I had A levels going on, but I'm very excited to get back to it.
very understandable with your A levels, and this is very super exciting. So today did you had the was the last day you actually finished, or you need to wait for some results?
No, I've got one exam tomorrow, my
Yes,
last
yeah, there we go.
exam tomorrow. Yeah. And then results day. I don't even know when it is, to be honest. I'll have
Yeah.
to find
Oh,
out. Yeah.
we'll be thinking of you tomorrow. So yeah, we know where to find you. So is that the best way to find you as well? Is the Instagram through your podcast? Yeah, if anybody
Yeah,
wants to.
probably the best. Yeah, I would say so at the moment.
Fantastic, fantastic. Now, one thing I always ask every guest on my podcast is a recommendation for something to read.
Right.
And if you don't read books, maybe you listen to books. So, do you have any? It could be more. You don't have just one. What would you?
Okay, I'm going to give you a couple. So, my first one is It Doesn't Matter Who You Are, This Book Will Change Your Life. Okay. And it's a bit long. It's kind of like, it's you got to put the time in. But this book single-handedly pulled me out of when I was in the darkest place of my life. And I was praying. I was like, I just can't, I can't be here anymore. If not, I need a solution. And this book came into my life. It's called The Magic. It's by the same person who wrote The Secret. But put your if you don't like Secret, just ignore it, because this book is phenomenal. I love it. Everybody that I've recommended it to, they come back to me, they're like, it was amazing. Like something happened in their life that was beautiful for them and meant something significant to them. It's all about gratitude. And I thought I was a grateful person. And then I read that book and miracles started happening. And I was like, okay, right. So now whenever I feel like I need that pick me up, I return to this book. You have to put a bit of energy into it because there's tasks every day for 28 days, but it is absolutely amazing. Yeah, that's my first book. And the second book is The Wisdom of Sundays by Oprah. It's a bit worn and torn, as you can tell. This is a book that grows with you. So whenever you read it, if I read it now and I then read it again in a year, I'll read it differently, even though it obviously says the same thing. But as I grow, I feel like this book grows with me. And I love it because you can also just flip through like a random page. You don't have to read it in like a certain order. And I think that it's great for anybody who's beginning in spirituality and self-development, but also if you're, quite deep into it. I just think that it's such a beautiful book to have in your little collection.
Amazing. And that one was Opera. What was the name?
The Wisdom of Sundays.
Right. I am getting both, and I'm actually getting a Magic and Audible today, and I'm gonna go and listen to it today.
Yes.
Because I am more into audio than reading, and I just know that if I want to get through it, I need to listen to it. So buy with one credit, confirm, got it. So
yes.
I'm gonna be listening to that later, and I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you all about my magic's gonna go next time. Now, there's one more thing I'm always asking before we go is some recommendation for something to watch. And now it doesn't have to be even on this topic. It can be whatever Sam would say that Sam. Now I call you Sam. My mom calls you Sam. Sam. Someone would say, guys, watch this. What would it be?
Okay, so first I'm going to say something really boring, but I really love documentaries.
Me too. I'm
anything that's like knowledge full, even ones about the earth, like David Attenborough ones. I know it sounds boring, but he's so relaxing. He reminds me of when I was a kid and I used to feel really safe when I was watching him, and he leaves me in awe anytime it's one about the ocean and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the same planet I'm living on. Wow. So definitely documentaries. However, I know we spoke all about spirituality, self-development, but sometimes I do like to watch brain numbing stuff, because sometimes you need to just turn off. Two shows that I really love. One is Gilmore Girls and one is called Jane the Virgin. And if you watch them, you're going to be like, this is not what I thought you would watch. But they're like my safe shows. And growing up,
No.
when things were like rough or I wasn't doing very well, I would come home and I'd watch that. And it's like a safe escapism. And growing, like, as I've got older, I started disagreeing with having escapisms because, like, just work through it. There's got to be a root to this issue. Why am I feeling this way? And my mum was like, sometimes you need to just chill. And I'd be like, no, 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 no. I need to figure out why I'm like this. And then she'd be like, just put something on and you'll feel better in 20 minutes. And she was so right. And I think that as a teenager, there are other things you could do that are much worse than watching a bit of Netflix.
Yeah,
So I'll
absolutely.
stick to my safe little Netflix escapism over things that I could be doing.
It's
So yeah,
amazing.
slightly, boring and brain not great for you, but they
No,
are
that's I
like little
totally
warm.
I
Yeah, they feel like a warm hug.
I love that, and I love the way you put it as well. Because I do have on the podcast, people when they recommend something to watch, sometimes people do say that it's nothing to do with the topic we're talking about. Because yeah, everybody like people say that sometimes. Like I believe that everybody needs to switch off sometimes. So
Yeah.
especially when you're having a busy business day and plus kids or whatever, and then like what, I just need something for me.
Yeah.
So I get that, but
Yeah.
just the way you say it is honestly, this is where I know you. We whatever you will want to achieve in your life, you achieve. You're gonna go far with what you want to achieve. It's like you've got such a gift of you're very very unique in so many ways, in so beautiful ways, and I'm so grateful. Let's talk about the gratitude we said. I'm so grateful that I know you now and I have you in my life and I'm not letting you go. You are your biggest fan now. I'm your biggest fan. And I'm honestly so grateful to know you because you are just so inspiring and so amazing.
Oh, thank
So
you.
the time is thinking unfortunately we are getting into towards the end of the episode, which I really wish we didn't have to because I could talk to you for so long. But as I said, and like most importantly, now we know that you are out there, you're spreading your beautiful messages now in your podcast, which are going to be there out there forever because podcasts not going to go anywhere. You are going to be recording more podcasts. You got this Instagram page, which if anybody needs more Summer, we know where to find you now. So thank you ever so much for accepting the invitation today. I truly loved
Oh,
having
thank
you. And
you.
as I said, that you have a very bright future. You are an amazing human being, and yeah, keep shining.
Oh, thank you, Lenka. Thank you for having me. It's been an honor to sit here with you today and have this wonderful conversation.
Oh, yeah, really, really enjoyed it. As I said, I really wish we could just talk more, but unfortunately, things have to come to the end. But yeah, we know where you are. Right, my lovely. Well, take care and good luck tomorrow, and good luck on your next venture as well.